So, um, here we go. So yeah, in this first circle, we were doing, after the talking, we were doing some breathing and just being aware of the breath in the body, um, to inhabit our embodied experience as a portable map that we brought with us. So then we walked along the edge of the shoreline, and as we were walking, I invited people to along. We were in the circle, standing still, connecting to breath and body. But then, how can you keep that inner awareness as you start going somewhere and the landscape changes? So, I was encouraging people to remain aware both of their own experience and their experience of being in this group of people walking. We're walking alone and together. You get to choose your own path, but also be aware of the group as a whole. And you could go farther away or closer in, but just what are those choices, and what's your experience of the choices that you're making? So that the same map and the same walk could have multiple experiences. There could be uh, multiple maps made of the same map, as it were. So we paused along the shoreline and again came to stillness. And when the outer body gets still, we can become more aware of the inner movement of the breath. And so from that, I guided people to be aware of the center of the body, the center line going down through the axis of the body, being aware of the ground beneath, the air above, and then also back and side and front. So we had a three-dimensional awareness of our body in space. And then from that, we tapped into the five senses, as well as two other senses, which are proprioception, which is the body's awareness of itself in space and the relation of body parts, and interoception, which is the body's internal awareness of itself. So from there, we developed into moving, and also connected with the four directions of front, back, side, and six above and below of the space around us. So we had our inner directions and also the outer directions. And we let the land guide us, and remained balancing, being aware of our body in the land and the land around our body. And also in our body, I also gave people a chance to explore the idea of the elements, so that the elements of the land are also the elements of the body. So that water in the lake here could also be the fluids of the body, and the land, stone and earth can be the bones, um, and the air is wind and also breath. The fire is the sunlight, the hot sun that we were in, the heat, but also it's life force and energy. Um, and Oh, earth, yeah, the soil and stone is earth, but it also can be the bone and the flesh of the body. Um, and then the fifth element of spirit or ether can be our attention, the attention and awareness that we placed on that. So we explored that as well. So here are some images of body as land and land as body. And then also some of the ways that people were connecting and exploring. Um, this person is rubbing on a rock. People were climbing and going where they wanted to make these maps. Here we see people writing, using sound, making sound recordings, video. So people were making their own multimodal maps in all kinds of ways. And they went down to the water and up and around. And so here's also someone, examples from individuals who shared with me about this is connecting with the internal and external water finding landmarks and things that created a map. Then we went into town. So here's the stone, element of stone from the shoreline, and then element of stone in the town. So as we went back along the shoreline and then into town, we carried with us the shoreline, the experience of the shoreline, the map of the shoreline into the town, and noticed how roads could be like rivers, and how the constructed environment could be an echo of the natural environment we'd been in, and also how they coexisted here, the plants and trees, the sky, all that, along with the constructed elements that we saw. So, and again, I was asking people to just notice what they noticed and to take pictures, write, keep gathering information, and making a map as they wanted to. And for some people, it really was an embodied map the whole time. They didn't do anything but connect with their experience. And using these same prompts in the town as we did in the landscape, of just noticing what we notice, what landmarks come up, what feels similar and different, allowed people to engage with Prespa, and with the land and the elements and all of this internal and external experience. So then towards the end, we gathered in the square. So people also, while we were in the town, again, people were going all over the place, following their own paths. And then we reconnected to share the space of the square. And there, the invitation was to, again, be walking in ways that weren't necessarily what we had done, weren't usual. So to explore all the directions, pathways, pacing.
One more minute, Sarah.
Okay, great. And then we did a share at the end. So these are some of the shares that people had. This was a map that was sort of like the Ecuadorian quipu, if you know those. It was a thread with knots along the way, a linear but not linear map of what had been found along the way. And people had various other talismans and marks that could be a memory palace. This was, again, it was a video, but and photos of their exploration they had gone inside the school. That's one of the sculptures in the room in the school. So people were creating maps and elements of their own experience. So that was just a little taste of what we were doing. And the process of embodiment was a way to be the land and feel the land and connect with the land. And so that by walking the map and mapping the walk, the goal was to remember, inhabit, and create embodied cartographies that served to both orient us and interweave us, and both internally and externally, and both individually and collectively. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandra Cowan, and I am here today with my friend and collaborator, Annie Martin.
If I speak, oh no. All good.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So the walk that we devised together, and I led on my own because Annie couldn't come, in Prespa last year, is walking with the elements. And just super briefly, it's basically a contemplative walk that is done collectively and in silence to give people the opportunity to develop a relationship with the place through opening all of our senses to the elements, the earth, the air, water, fire. So we live in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, and this slide is back home in Lethbridge, which is where we both are today. It's the traditional territory of the Blackfoot Nation, so they're the Indigenous landholders in this area of Canada. And I'm going to pass it over to Annie now to give us a little bit of background.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes,
Um,
perfect.
so I wanted to acknowledge that our walking practice, our collaborative practice, has roots in a listening walk practice that I learned from a Canadian composer, Hildegard Vesterkamp, Vancouver-based, in 2004. So since that time, I had been conducting what I call listening walks, which are walks which propose their radical openness to the acoustic environment and attentiveness to the totality of what surrounds us in the environment on the level of sound. So this involves lowering our typical filters in a kind of act of radical openness. Sandra and I took this practice further, and also based in our appreciation of Buddhist meditation practices, Sandra proposed that we expand it to include all of the senses. This is just by way of background. So we have been devising, creating walks, which in various ways allowed our participants and ourselves to deeply connect in a kind of radical openness with the environment. So the walk, walking with the elements, was really a response to the elements as a fundamental context for life, and to heal what I would say I perceived as our inherited alienation and disconnection from the elements and the environment. And by this, I don't mean that we aren't always in the elements, we are, but that in our minds and the way that we perceive the environment, we see ourselves as separated. This is a kind of, this comes out of my desire and Sandra's desire, I would say, to heal from human exceptionalism, which sees us as separate and somehow superior to the environment. And I think this theme runs through all of the walks that have been presented today. And as Sandra pointed out and others have pointed out, we seem to be at this point in time, collectively and individually, wanting to enact various kinds of healing that involve learning about or reconnecting with our natural wealth as human beings. So I'm going to turn it over to Sandra to continue and to talk about the element walk in Prespa.
Thanks, Annie. So this is Prespa, as many of you will recognize. The elements are so present in that place. So basically, I'm just going to walk you through the walk. So we're just going to kind of take the walk. So the walking with the elements, it was a collective walk, very slow pace, in silence, and with several pauses where we had a little opportunity to contemplate each of the elements. The point is really to be walking with awareness. It's kind of an awareness contemplative practice, and using our sight, touch, feeling, hearing, smell, all of our senses to connect with the elements and with the place. And so we started off downtown in beautiful Serrades. And the first element that we engaged with was air. So the prompt was really to just feel the air, hear the air. There was a little breeze, so we could actually hear it. And then feel ourselves moving through air, but also, of course, our breath. So the air is moving through us and sustaining us. So the air is both outside and inside. And then as we moved towards the lake, we encountered this beautiful pile of earth. There had been some kind of construction or destruction here, so the earth was exposed. So we paused here to engage with earth, to stand, like really feel the support of the earth, to touch it, smell it, pick it up, and really feel that earth. And think about how, in fact, you know, the plants grow in the earth, we eat the plants, like we are really literally we consist of earth as well. We're very closely integrated to this actual land that we live on. And then we continued on our way. We busted through Sarah's group to get to the shore. And so here we are down at the beach in Serrades and walking in the water, feeling the water, experiencing the water, listening to the water, just interacting with water in all of the ways that we could think of. And thinking, of course, about how, as Sarah mentioned as well, our bodies consist of 80% water as well. Water is everywhere. It's in the plants, the soil, the clouds in the air, under the ground. It's all around us all the time and inside of us. But it's nice to actually get in it, in a lake, and really walk around and feel it. And so the next element was fire. And of course, those of you who were in Prespa will remember how very fiery and hot that sun is. It was a really hot week there, especially for me coming from Canada. So we were just really engaging with the heat of the sun and walking back through the village in the sun and then in the shade, and experiencing that contrast of shade and sun to really get a feel for the energy of fire. And so we walked through the town site, and the very last prompt was really to engage with all of the elements. So walking again in silence and seeing how we could sense the air, the water, the earth, and fire and sun all around us and also within us at the same time. We're literally like made up of all of these elements as human beings, as bodies, as is the earth, the landscape around us. So at the end, we wound up back in, we found a shady patch back in on the main street in Serrades, and we just had maybe 5 or 10 minutes of creative reflection. We had created little notebooks with prompts for the walk, and so people could write or draw whatever they felt like doing, some kind of creative response to the walk at that point. And then just a few minutes of sharing as well. So whatever people felt like to sharing from their writing or their drawing or their experience or whatever it is that they wanted to share. So thank you so much, Yanis, for this invitation. I'd really like to thank all of the participants who came on the walk. They had such open hearts and such willingness to engage with this process. It made it a really beautiful experience for me and hopefully for them as well. Thank you to all the people who organized that whole event and continuing to organize these events.
With Evita, we've made a sound installation in the village of Psarades. The project was called Home Way, and the main idea that Evita and I had was to reconstruct the concept of home through sound. We took several audio recordings from different cities around Europe, like Florence, Malta, Thessaloniki, and we upload them. We create a sound composition, like a sound collage, and upload it to a cloud, the sound cloud. And we pasted a barcode with the link of the sound in several spots around the village of Psarades. And we selected the spots for people who enjoy solitude. So we would like the people to listen alone this familiar and familiar soundscape composition. We would like to invite to listen this 5 minute soundscape composition we've made together with Vita. So I will play a piece that we created for this installation.
Thank you very much. In the third part, we invite persons either that are, let's say, either they are locals or they are artists who have come to Prespa for a number of times and years. And we ask them to present to us the one very place that becomes topos, that is something especially important for them. And that is, it works in their lives also as a point of return, meaning that they are cheap either mentally or actually physically returning to it whenever they want and whenever they wish and whenever they need. So far, in the previous 5 sessions, we have presented around 7, I think. And we have to say that these places that we present will also be the topics, if I can call them topics, of the 2027 encounters. It will not be about general ideas, so to say, but it will be about specific places. And people have shared it with us, and then we return to them also, us, with ideas, thoughts, because each one of them has also implications for every one of us. So what I want, so there will be in our website a description, an area where these places will be presented. As we say, we don't face this process as a festival or as a, how to say, or as a meeting place or as a conference. We face it as we are introducing it as an open laboratory of ideas, of thoughts, of works, totally different than the objectification of art that is very often implemented. And this is why I showed Era's uh, teaser, let's say. So now we will have Vasilis Kendros. Vasily? Vasilis Kendros is the president of a very small village. It has now, I don't think that it has more than 5 people who live permanently there. That is in a very important location. And who is connecting with us? Hello, Vasilis. Hello, Sofia.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. And so Vasilis, in 8 minutes, will present us this very important place. What is the very important place for him?
Vadohori Primary School was built in 1930 on the foundation of an older Bulgarian church. The building was constructed entirely by craftsmen from Vadohori with very limited financial support from the Greek state. Its construction was a collective effort reflecting the contribution and dedication of the village community. You see the photo here from many childs.
Now
From
there are only 5 people living there.
Yes.
More. From 1938 to 1944, the school was reconstruction by the army and ceased operating as an educational institution. Road paving works. During this period, it housed workers and personnel involved in the defensive preparation of the area prior to the Greco-Italian War. Road paving works, machine gun emplacement, multi-tank trenches, and other fortification were constructed in the vicinity. These works were completed in 1939, after which the building was used as a storage facility for food supplies, equipment, and ammunition. From Vadohori, provisions were transported through a network of intermediate depots to support operation of the Albanian front. During the war, Italian forces attempted to bomb the school, although the building itself was not directly hit. Nearly explosion caused damage, and shrapnel marks remained on its walls. Following the end of the Greco-Italian War, German military units and SS forces were stationed in the area, controlling the road leading to Albania. The Civil War period. After the WAC Agreement, the school was reconstructed once again. Its premises were used for meeting, council, people courts, and political gatherings. Most activity took place at night due to the constant threat of aerial bombardment. You see photo here from the forces.
These are the Greek Democratic Army.
Yes, exactly. The village church bell served as an early warning system, alerting residents to approaching aircraft. We saved many people with this bell. You see, during the period, General Skotidas was killed in an air raid before he could reach shelter. The final years of operation as a school. In 1950, the school reopened and resumed its educational role. It consisted of 2 classes for boys and 2 classes for girls, serving the educational needs of the local community. Many distinguished professionals from Vadohori received the first education within these classrooms. Doctors, historians, lawyers, engineers, and architects who later live and work in different parts of Greece and around the world learned the first lesson in reading and writing within this building. Today, the building is considered an important element of Vadohori cultural and social heritage. It's frequently mentioned in hiking, sorry, and travel guides as one of the village's most distinctive landmarks. The municipality of Prespas has undertaken restoration and maintenance work aimed at preserving and revitalizing the building for future generations. Summer 2025. As part of the Prespa WAC Encounters, a ceramic workshop brought new life to the schoolyard, hosting artists and visitors from different regions. You see the photos here. Where is my friend?
We have to say that this is the first ceramic kiln in the area after 50 years.
Exactly, exactly.
The first fire that was burnt.
Winter,
This is the second.
yes, yes, yes. Winter
2025.
2027.
Five.
Five.
Somehow represent, let's say, the municipality of Prespes in this meeting, and I'm very happy to see all of you talking about all of all these perspectives of the area where we live, and it's very nice to see that something is building stronger and bigger every time. Now the Vatahori building is an example for that. As you mentioned, Yanis, it was the first ceramic workshop there after many, many decades, but I'm sure it will not be the last one because the place there, the area was center for the ceramics and has very good material to use to prepare ceramics. So we see there a future for the building concerning the ceramics history, which we will build, I hope we will build together. It's very important to say that if we see that place full of people, of course, it's not like the 1933 year photo with hundreds of people, but now we see some people there working, sharing the experience and designing their next steps. So if we see people there, it's like we have the feeling that we see people in the whole village where, as you mentioned, now 10 people live.
More.
More, okay, maybe 12.
18.
Maybe 12. But it's very important that we do something there, and we will be very happy to operate the building there again for those reasons. And not only that, because I said I represent the municipality of Prespes, all these activities are life for the area and also hope. So I have to thank all of you for that.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Thank you very much. So now we can have a discussion for 10 minutes. I would just make, let's say, a bridge between this and that. As you can see, what was presented was not a building, but it is the process from something that once existed, then it disappeared, and then because of all of us, because it's not only, of course, Sophia and Vasilis, they are living there. They have decided to live there. They were not living in They were from Prespa, but they decided to move back and stay there. And we are also making the same decision because the main purpose of this program, the Walk and Local Communities, is exactly about that. It is not about how to make art detached from society, detached from the landscape, detached from the environment and all the issues, social, political, ecological, but exactly an art that is growing and it also grows the community and is being grown from the community where it is within. This is why we want to make it, to say that, let's say that the 7+7, all the works that will be done from now on will have to be related when the application takes place, to be related to one of these places. Of course, this is a big logistic effort because Prespa is spread all over let's say, a radius of at least 40 kilometers. But it is also a challenge, and it will also create a unique cultural and artistic endeavor.